Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Rob, and this is a list of 23 PlayStation 5 games you must play in 2025. Luckily for us, it's already shaping up to be a massive year, including some creative new releases, mega sequels, and, if we're lucky, even the return of Ken Levine. I think 2025 is going to be our year. With the usual caveats that these are the games we are expecting, and in a couple of cases hoping to see next year, and remembering that changes of plan are always possible. Let's get stuck in, starting with Ghost of Yotei, the mysterious follow-up to Sucker Punch's epic samurai adventure, Ghost of Tsushima. At present, we don't know too much about this, other than it's set over 300 years after the first game, so it's safe to say we won't hear much from Jin Sakai. We do know that we play as new character Atsu, who takes on the mantle of the Ghost in the northern Japanese prefecture of Hokkaido, and they occasionally carry around a cool instrument on their back. To say we're excited about the possibility of playing it as a minigame is an understatement. Otherwise, we're excited enough about the prospect of experiencing more of what made Tsushima such a triumph: rich storytelling in a visually sumptuous recreation of feudal Japan with adaptable dramatic samurai combat. Next up, another entry in the Yakuza but it's a little bit wild now series. Here's Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It's literally called that. Step into the now sandy boots of everyone's favourite extravagant ex-gangster Goro Majima, who somehow lost his memory. Naturally, he decides to reinvent himself as a literal pirate, with the hat and the ship and everything. I mean, you would, wouldn't you? The turn-based combat Like a Dragon is known for is now bolstered by cannon battles and performing high kicks while raiding enemy vessels. I mean, seriously, there's no way you could make this game any cooler. Oh, apparently you can make it cooler. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii appears on the horizon on the 21st of February 2025. Our third must-play game of 2025 is artful horror sequel Little Nightmares 3, which emerges with an incredibly creepy bang along with some brand new co-op. Playing as fresh characters, Lo and alone, you need to escape the also new location of the Spiral. Don't worry, it has the same dank desperation as the series' previous settings. The official description is literally a cluster of disturbing places. And the game also brings back the trademark stress of sneaking and puzzle platforming through kid brain fever dreams, only this time you'll be doing it as a duo, either with a friend in online co-op or an AI companion. We can't wait to plug back into the game's uncanny and uncannily accurate distortions of our childhood fears. If you've ever thought to yourself, I really like Cuphead, but I wish it was a first-person shooter inspired by film noir with a mouse, then you're in luck. Mouse PI for Hire has you blasting your way through the local rodent gangster population across a wonderfully cartoonish, violent and cartoonishly violent 3D world. Because the viscera is contained in black and white, weapons like the electrocution flowers you give as a gift seem like gags from an old comedy film rather than a Geneva Convention-defying monstrosity. And hey, film noir is probably pre-Geneva Convention anyway, right? Probably. The point being that Mouse PI has the same incongruous, artful edge that made Cuphead so striking, and gameplay we can't wait to dive into. The only thing we can't understand is why they didn't call it the Big Squeak. Look, give us a break when it comes to talking through our next game, Death Stranding 2, on the beach. Realistically, even if we'd finished it already, we'd struggle to explain what it's actually about. And that is, after all, half the joy of playing a Hideo Kojima game. So here are some facts about this game we all know we're going to play anyway. Sam and Fragile are back, but sometimes they're in black and white. Higgs isn't dead, but is red and now has a keytar. Mad Max director George Miller is in the game, or at least his face is, and the character that face is attached to has a cat made from oil that has wings. Oh, and there are mudslides to avoid when delivering parcels now, so, you know, gameplay evolution as well. The relentless march of time means it's been nearly a decade since the last new chapter in the Mafia story, so thank Paulie's silver wings for Mafia The Old Country, which not only fills that hole but also lets us turn the clock backwards to 1900s Sicily. This prequel follows the journey of new character Enzo as he works his way up the ladder of Don Teresi's crime outfit. Set in the Cosa Nostra's ancestral homeland, Enzo will presumably wander around beautiful Mediterranean locations and barter for contraband. If you don't like the prices, you can always make them an offer they can't refuse. And speaking of prequels, the rebooted Doom series gets a medieval one in the shape of Doom the Dark Ages, which sees the Doomslayer taking on the army of Hell single-handedly. Again. When will they learn? In the future, to be fair, which hasn't happened yet. There's no grappling hook this time, probably because future. But you won't miss it because of this. I like to call it Mace on a Chain, because it's a mace on a chain and it does this. There's also this boomerang chainsaw shield thing that, having done the calculations, we can confirm will be an illegal amount of fun. We're also looking forward to getting a new, literally heavy as hell soundtrack, though for once it seems it won't be the most metal thing in the game, as Doom the Dark Ages features a gun that grinds skulls and shoots the bone bits out as bullets. All hail the king, specifically the king of realistic medieval RPGs, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, returning in 2025 with a direct sequel to 2018's original. That means jumping right back into the fire-retardant trousers of bohemian blacksmith Henry in a game world twice as big as the original, split between the idyllic bohemian paradise and the town of Kuttenberg. So far we've seen more of the trademark methodical combat, as well as the sprawling immersive conversations that pull Henry through the world. Also, Henry has risen in station since we last saw him, as he's now a trusted ally of the rightful king, although that won't make his adventures any less perilous when you jump in on the 11th of February 2025. Up next is a game likely to take the biggest beasties you get to kill this year award, Monster Hunter Wilds. This time you join a unit investigating a mysterious monster called the White Wraith in the Forbidden Lands. By the way, those lands, they completely transform as the seasons progress, meaning your surroundings will change every time you go up against one of the new monsters that have been revealed so far. The coolest of these is the Black Flame, which is it's big and there are flames, and you can attempt to turn it into a mantelpiece trophy when Monster Hunter Wilds releases on the 28th of February 2025. It's kind of hard to not talk about Grand Theft Auto 6, given it's one of the most successful and infamously iconic franchises that the world has ever seen. The thing is though, Rockstar is being particularly coy about their upcoming open world monster, so there's not an awful lot to actually say. At least one character is called Lucia. It features the sticky glamour of Vice City for the first time since back in the PS2 days, and there will be plenty of alligators and Florida mans around. Sold, actually. Assassin's Creed Shadows is up next, and the new entry in the conspiracy and murder franchise is set in feudal Japan. Two new assassins act as dual protagonists, stealthy grapple-hooking Naoe and giant spiky club-wielding Yasuke, meaning the flexible approach to encounters that the series has perfected over the years now has a character focus. The new setting also features dynamic seasons, which impact the environment and may affect how you wish to take on the bad guys. Despite all this cool stuff though, the best part is there are Shiba dogs, and you can pet them. Who's a good boy? Borderlands 4 is coming in 2025, and now we can add there's a grappling hook to the reasons we can't wait to play it. The 4 new Vault Hunters look suitably badass, including the guy with cool light blade arm things, which will likely come in handy as the crew fight their way across new planet Kairos and battle the mysterious Timekeeper. It's not all melee though, as series tradition dictates that there must be lots and lots and lots of guns, as shown here. What's not following series tradition is Gearbox taking vehicle design cues from the Phantom Menace. I actually quite like it. Following the remake of the third game earlier in 2024, the remainder of the Erdrick trilogy is getting a facelift too. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake continues the story from the third game, 3 was a prequel, so it's not as confusing as it sounds, in the same pixel-perfect, refreshed style as its prequel predecessor. Erdrick's descendants must continue to fight the good fight and fend off all the new big bads that have popped up since Zola's defeat, and that means you can sink back into this multi-generational hero's tale for hours of JRPG fun. Lovely. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is up next, which is a new game from Sandfall Interactive, a studio packed with ex-Ubisoft talent. Set in a rather askew France, this alternate world is beholden to the enigmatic paintress, a figure who wakes every year and paints a number on a monolith, whereupon everyone that age turns to smoke and fades away. Your party, all the age of the next number, 33, sets out to stop these unpleasant birthday celebrations by turn-based battling various painted creations until the whole fading into smoke thing is done away with. The combat is clearly inspired by traditional JRPGs, but introduces a greater deal of interactivity via dodges, parries, and QTE-based skill checks. Perfect for those who are less keen on patiently waiting their turn to hit things. Kicking off the second season of Supermassive's The Dark Pictures Anthology is Directive 8020. At first glance, this instalment ticks the boxes we've come to expect. Multiple protagonists, check. Multi-linear player-determined narrative, check. Hollywood talent, British star Lashana Lynch is already confirmed. What is different is the setting. It's gone all sci-fi. Lynch plays Brianna Young, the pilot of ship Cassiopeia, which has had a rather hard landing on a planet 12 light years from home. Not ideal. And remember, in space, no one can hear you scream at the TV for making the wrong choice and getting your favourite character killed. Hell Is Us is not quite as it might seem on the surface. The game's first look trailer might have emphasised tense combat, the beautifully bleak world, monsters that look like tortured echoes of real-life war zones, all definitely there and definitely very interesting. But there's also much more going on. You play as Remy, returning to the fictional war-torn nation of Hedea, having been smuggled out as a child. Now you're back to find your parents, which means unravelling the mysteries of the conflict-ridden past and exploring the human darkness at the heart of chaos. Subnautica. If you enjoyed the first game even half as much as we did, then you're no doubt thrilled to hear a fully fledged sequel is on the way. Especially Dave, who was very excited by the prospect of playing with friends to stop him getting too scared. The trailer shows off some very cool teases, like the Leviathan cephalopod surrounding the sea truck. That is definitely going to keep me up at night. We love Fallout, as we're sure you do, but have you ever thought it could do with more chips and gravy? Let us introduce you to Atomfall, the post-apocalyptic survival action game set in our very own Cumberland, a place filled with sausages and accents that make us feel right at home. Okay, no more accents, but more stealthily killing masked bandits in the radioactive hills surrounding an exploded nuclear plant, please. There's a conspiracy involving something called Oberon, a big but legally distinct Wicker Man, and the very out-of-place red phone boxes that keep ringing for no one. We are so on board. Atomfall lands on the 27th of March, 2025. Wuo Chang Fallen Feathers is up next, a Ming Dynasty era Souls-like set in the land of Shu. Well, we say Ming Dynasty era, but the dynasty has very recently failed, and you play as Wuo Chang, an amnesiac pirate warrior attempting both to recover her memories and to understand the darkness that has corrupted the kingdom. So yes, actually very Souls-like, with a hollowed hero exploring a doomed world. And in this case, the doom takes the form of the feathering phenomenon, which has unleashed a plague of mutations, like women being able to transform into massive fox heads. Don't worry though, as the game's selection of fighting styles, hidden weapons, and ancient firearms give you the means to fight back, and there's every chance you'll also be able to harness the power of feathering itself. Next up, FBC Firebreak, which, like all the best gifts, is something we didn't know we wanted, but would now be sad to be without. Set in the world and actual maps of Remedy's spooky hit Control, you and two friends play as the Firebreak, the Bureau's most versatile and arguably coolest named unit. Your job is to suppress the hiss infestation that's overrun the Bureau before it takes over the oldest house. As well as offering a first-person take on the terrific gunplay of Control, Firebreak's key appeal is in the desperate, uncanny co-op improvisation that the game's varied paranormal emergencies are going to foster. Best of all, the FBC Firebreak is coming day one to the PlayStation Plus game catalogue. Ren Animal is up next, the new project from Tarsier, the extraordinary team behind Little Nightmares 1 and 2. And you can see the shared DNA. Ren Animal has you co-oping as a brother and sister who journey through a dark and twisted world to rescue their friends, with that uncanny ability to capture the skewed horrors of childhood imaginings back in full force. The co-op is playable both local and online, and exploration is given more of an emphasis here, with on-foot and by-boat traversal possible, and hidden extras for those brave enough to stray from the main path. It's going to be a good year, by which we mean horrible year, for Tarsier and Little Nightmares fans. If you're getting Bioshock vibes from what you're seeing on screen, don't worry, you're not the only one. Judas is the new game from Ken Levine, the creative director of Bioshock, back with a new studio, Ghost Story. This first-person speculative sci-fi adventure looks to be packed with the same mix of arch-philosophizing, historical erudition and very pretty visuals that are the hallmarks of Levine's work, following the generational ship Mayflower as it transports the last remnants of humankind to a new home. 3 leaders with competing ideologies influence the ship: transhumanists, nihilists, and let's just go to the pubists. With you playing as Judas, who's broken free of indoctrination and probably gets to make all sorts of decisions while shooting stuff and using powers. Yes, we are in. Finally, squeezing onto the end of the list, the recently announced Split Fiction, the new co-op adventure from the flamboyant Joseph Fares of It Takes Two fame. Moving away from family-shrinking antics, this new entry has you controlling a pair of aspiring writers trapped in a shared simulation of their work. The catch is, one writes fantasy and the other writes sci-fi, so not only is the game a sort of conceptual version of our favourite corner of Waterstones, but it features more genre clash than your average Comic-Con queue. As expected, each level will offer new mechanics, including one rather bizarre hot dog level. No, we don't understand either, but we can't wait to find out, and we will soon. Split Fiction is out on the 6th of March 2025. So there you go, 23 PS5 games you must play in 2025. Which are you most excited about? Any you think we've missed? Let us know in the comments. Give us a like if you're as hyped for the year ahead as we are. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you're always up to date with everything from the world of PlayStation. Thanks for watching.
PlayStation